Hello and welcome to the Cultured Bumpkin, all you cultured bumpkins. Today we have Jamie CLoutier as our guest. And Jamie, thank you first for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for all the long suffering. We won't get into it, but like we had scheduled this like an hour ago and I got caught up, and thank you for being gracious. But so I saw Jamie at SonicCon in November. You were with Andy Harvey. You've worked with Daniel Cross a lot. With and what's the live thing that you've done?
The Main Street Music Show is our podcast. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's right.
By Jake Johnston. Yeah.
Right. So I saw you perform live with Daniel, and it was fantastic.
Thank you.
I'm gonna link that down below as well, because I mean it's just a great show. But anyway, tell us a little about yourself. You're a great voice artist, but just from the dawn of time till what happened? How'd you get here?
I was born. I'm from Massachusetts, and I came over to Liberty and did a theater performance degree. Graduated in 2012. And as most Liberty grads do, stuck around because the area is really great. I obviously performed mainly on stage in my college years and continued to do so in various contracts. But I got mainly into voice acting with one of my professors. I worked as the admin in the theater arts department, and Professor Chris Nelson and I obviously worked together, and he headed up with another professor in the communications area. They created the Encounter series, and I love listening to Adventures in Odyssey. It's a lifelong dream. I will never let it go. My children will be forced into it. And so audio drama has always been really intriguing. And I kept begging him, like, hey, as I sit here behind the counter, like, maybe just maybe let me just be on the show. Maybe I just get on. And he's like, you're gonna move away. It's not gonna work out. I'm gonna make you a character and then you're gonna leave. I'm like, I won't leave. I promise, please. Like a year goes by. Finally, he, gives me a bit role after audition, and I do one in like the Origin series in season 1. And then I keep bothering him. I'm like, please, sir, please let me audition. I promise I won't move. So eventually he lets me audition, and I end up being one of the more major characters in seasons 5 through 7, which is coming out. It has been a long and arduous process of editing and such, but you can see the season 5 trailer is up now on encounterseries.com. I play the role of Kyla. She's kind of a tough motorcycle riding, don't ever want to date sort of girl from the desert. But it's a great series. Highly recommend it. And that's kind of how I got my start. And then, I got contacted by Jacob Johnston about doing the Main Street Music Show. And he, Daniel Cross, and Aaron Bond and I kind of all collaborated on my first episode there. And then it's mostly been Daniel and I since then, with Jacob writing and producing. And I do some film here and there. My preferred methods of performing, though, are voiceover and stage. That's what I love the most. I love the live troubleshooting of it all. So
Okay.
Yeah. And then I created Lovely Streak, which
okay.
Over here. Yeah.
So before we get to Lovely Streaks, we're going to talk about that in a minute. So I saw you at SonicCon in Virginia, Lynchburg, Virginia, at Liberty. And it was like, I used to watch or listen to A Prairie Home Companion back in the day. And I loved it. Back in high school, on Saturday nights, I would be tuning in, I'd be drawing or whatever, and I would listen to Garrison Keillor and his variety show on, Lake Wobegon, Minnesota. And
yes, his voice is iconic. I still listen to him now on Dateline.
Right. It's iconic. And if you haven't, if you're listening, whether it's live or on the replay, you need to check it out.
Mm-hmm.
The Prairie Home Companion. But that show reminded me of that. Not that it's like a ripoff, but it's like that style.
Yes.
Obviously, it's live. It's any mistakes that you make, which you didn't make any, but if you made any, it would be I would see him. Everybody would see him.
Yeah.
There's the live Foley in the background, like, like it was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. Sonicon in particular was where we did that with the live for the first. We did one live show downtown at the White Hart, but that was the first one we got live Foley and everything like that.
Okay, I was going to ask that.
Yes.
You always have the live Foley. Okay, very cool. And for anyone new, Foley, what is Foley?
Foley basically in this instance is where there are people in the background or wherever they be creating the sound effects live. So we had, if you can picture a miniature door, every time someone came in and out, the door would open, shut, a little bell maybe would go. So yeah, we had some live actors in their own right back there with the sound actors.
And I mean, I don't know what I was expecting, but I was cackling the entire time. Like I was in stitches. I loved it. It was great.
I'm so glad.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite parts of life, to be honest. Every time we get to do a new episode of the Mainstream Music Show, I love it. I love working with the guys, Daniel and Jacob, and Daniel's so extremely talented. I can't believe sometimes the amount of voices that he does. It's humbling.
I was in a production Lamplighter Theater.
Yes.
It's an audio drama. And there was one called The Hidden Hand that he and I were in. That's where I met him for the first time back in 2020 is when we recorded it. And he had, I think, 14 voices.
Oh my gosh.
14 voices. Like each one as different from the other. I mean, Daniel's amazing.
Yeah. He is what I aspire to be when I grow up. I want to be Daniel Cross.
Well, you're already that. Like, because in this show, I mean, you had how many sketches did y'all have throughout the weekend?
I honestly don't know because we kind of like chopped at the very end, but we had, I don't know, maybe we had around 7 or something like that. But we also brought on, which we don't always do, we brought on other actors. So obviously we had, Kara O'Brien and Sam Van Fossen but mostly it's just Daniel and I when we do the pod.
Okay.
We have someone on every now and then, but typically we just, we kind of do it back and forth. But for the live sake, for the audience's sake, we try to throw some more people in there.
Right. Okay. A couple weeks ago, I acted with Kara O'Brien in a thing called Jake Muller Adventures up here in Chicago. And she's amazing. She was so much fun to work with.
I had always heard about her. Well, actually, she is a voice in the Encounter series. And so I had heard her voice, loved her. I asked Chris Nelson, I said, who is this woman? I love her voice. And then when I got to meet her, it was super cool and got to work with her. She's hilarious. Loved her instantly. And then, it was just announced that she's coming to play the Dowager Countess in the Illuvian Stage Company's Anastasia in the fall. So she'll be back in Virginia on stage. Okay. So very excited to see Kara on stage.
Very even talk to you about this, but I am making an audio version of the Bible, just little by little as I go, Bible stories and books especially. But I want you in it. I'm doing Jonah right now, which there's no women in that one, but I just got Andy Harvey and Daniel Cross, and then myself are the voices of that.
Yeah.
The narrator, God, Jonah, the King, and the Mariners. But I'm getting into some different ones. I want you to be a part of it. I love your performances, and I'll be in touch with you about that.
Thank you so much. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, I'm pretty sure I think it's Dowager Empress. Sorry, Kara. That's your not Dowager Countess. I'm trying to give everybody a shout out here because Illuvian is also my home. So Illuvian Stage Company. Come see it in fall.
Nice. And where is that in Lynchburg?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the Tower Theater at Liberty University. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah. So where you saw the Sonicon show.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Very nice. I would see another show there in a heartbeat.
Yes. And this one will be directed by Chris Nelson. So lots of connections there.
Excellent. How about, and he's the director of the whole Sonicon, right?
He is. Yes.
Right? Okay. So I met Chris. Great guy. Excellent.
Yeah.
Mariah says hello. How you doing, Mariah?
Hi, Mariah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's so
Liberty has shaped me greatly, I will say. It was
So-
the Lord's plan that I go there, and it's still the Lord's plan that I've been fruitful in all of my experiences and connections there, and then I still get to be a part of it. So I really love it there.
So when you went to you from Massachusetts, you went to Liberty.
Yes.
You majored in
Theater performance.
Okay, and what was that like?
It was amazing. Okay, people might think theater majoring is like the easy way out. It's definitely not. I would just say you have to memorize like all the time, constantly. But I guess the med students really don't care because they have to memorize like whole textbooks. But yeah, it was amazing. And Chris was obviously like such an integral part of my time there. Absolutely one of the best professors around. He really takes to shaping new students. He really loves to see new students come in and get a chance and really push you. And I think I can speak for a lot of my classmates as well, that he had a huge influence on our time there. And so just getting to connect with him and still work with him to this day is a great blessing.
That's wonderful. I think I mean, I only met him really quickly, but he was like, doing yeoman work, even though he was the director of the whole thing. You know what I mean? He was picking me up from a parking lot.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And when I saw that, I was like, this is a good dude.
He's the ideas guy around, and he will, not that he doesn't take no for an answer, but he always believes there is an answer. And so he will, even if he has to do it, even if he has to be the one to go pick up. And he also is the director of summer camps. And I worked as a counselor for him for many years. And it's the same way. It's his favorite time when he gets to see a project come to fruition. He really pours everything into it. So thank you to Chris Nelson.
That's wonderful. that doesn't, like I said, I have this much, personal interaction with him, and yet none of that surprises me what you just said.
Yeah.
Just based on my very short interaction. That's wonderful.
Yeah. And all of the professors, all the theater professors that I had the experience with in my time there were just as integral, and they all have a firm foundation in faith, and they really push you not only to be a great artist, but to know what you're going out into the world as and with and who you're going to be interacting with. And they strive for nothing less than excellence, honestly.
That's awesome. That's as it should be. What kind of shows were you in when you were at Liberty, or after or since?
Yeah. No, at Liberty, I feel like my class got to do a lot of the dramatic musicals and sung through musicals in the first grouping of our time. And then we got to start the Alluvian Stage Company my senior year. So we got to start kicking off the Disney musicals, which was really cool. Very nice. Peter Pan was the first Alluvian Stage Company musical in 2012. And so we got to all start off with that. And Chris Nelson was Hook. And I got to play Wendy. And so we all got to kind of really have just like such a cool initial experience with Alluvian Stage Company. But yes, we did some big dramatic musicals, and we also did some big fun musicals like Hairspray.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, some great dramatic pieces that have since been brought around again, like The Crucible. That was in my top 3 of shows to do at Liberty for sure. So a lot of fun.
So in Peter Pan, I've never been in a Peter Pan production. That's a pretty big role, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
That's like the lead.
It was. Yes.
Oh,
it was. Yeah, it was such a blessing to be able to. I honestly, I auditioned for Toodles. I didn't really think about it. To be honest, I was like, I make a fun little boy, and it didn't cross my mind, but it ended up being so wonderful, and I'm so grateful to have been cast in that and to get to work with all these people. I mean, you get to fly, you get to sword fight, you get to work with someone in a giant dog costume. How can you go wrong?
That is awesome.
Yeah,
that's so cool. Yeah. So what has been your journey since, college to where you are now?
Yeah. So been back and forth just a little bit. Got to go work for a summer in missions in London in theater, and another grad and I, Sarah Seaman, although she's married now and I do not know her new married last name. We went over there together, and we got to work on a show called Love Beyond, the musical. Half West End professionals, half just area theater professionals.
Okay.
Yeah, and we got to perform in Wembley Arena, and which was really cool and so big. And they brought like the seating forward because we weren't going to fill like that that much, but we had
That's where they do. That's like a tennis court, right?
no, that's Wembley
Or
Stadium. It's right next door. So there's
okay, okay,
Wembley Arena is where they do like X Factor and stuff like that. So it's
yeah,
they're kind of right next to each other.
okay, okay.
But anyway, yeah, so we had, thousands there every night. And so that was really cool. And they're still going. They're still trying to, I think, bring it on tour and things like that. But yeah, so I've been all over the place. I've had so many different jobs. Currently, I'm contracted as a creative director for an artificial intelligence leadership consultancy boutique company. And I own Lovely Street Productions, LLC.
Excellent. Okay, so let's talk about Lovely Street, and then we will give people a little sample.
Amazing. So yeah, Lovely Street is basically audio quiet time stories for kids. So like I mentioned, I was very influenced by Adventures in Odyssey growing up. It calmed me every night back when we used to have, tape decks. Every night I would kind of just like memorize with my fingers. My eyes would be shut, like fast forward, rewind, flip, whatever. So
Right.
and switch tapes, and I would play them every night, every road trip, and it was always calming to me as a child. And to this day, I think of the stories and the bits of knowledge that I learned from Adventures in Odyssey, and I can still repeat in my head like the exact intonation and tone. And so can other people I know that listen to them. So audio is obviously very powerful. And one Christmas, I was trying to come up with something affordable to get my nephew. And it was probably my mom who said, like, oh, you should just like write him a story or something like that. And I ended up thinking, like, oh, I'll create him an audio story about him and his favorite stuffed animal called Weevy. And so in real life, outside of his home, there's a train track. And so I created this story about his stuffed animal escaping one night and going for an adventure on the night train. And so he goes and he basically like goes to my nephew's favorite train spot, and he takes a train and he takes it over to Skull Island, which is like a real little island that they have near the house. And he gets stuck there. And so Cade has to go rescue him. Cade is my nephew. And I got my parents in on it to do voices. I got my brother to do a voice, and we got the whole family involved. And so we created this radio drama, and I narrated and I edited it all together. And then as I was doing it, I was like, man, I love this. Wish I could do this full time for my career and bring joy to children everywhere. And my mom was like, yeah, you should just maybe do that. I was like, okay, you know what? Let's give it a go. So I ended up trying my hand at it. And then I ended up having to backtrack for a second due to licensing. I had to get a different license that I could no longer afford for the sound effects and music. Hence coming to Sonicon, where you met me. I was on the lookout for a sound engineer and a musician, someone that I could get the rights to this content from.
Right.
So that did end up happening. I ended up working with Oscar Corral and Greg Vincent for the music.
Who at Sonicon X was actually rooming with Oscar Corral. We were in the same Airbnb. Yeah.
Everyone was like, have you met Oscar? Have you met Oscar? I was like, yes, I did. He came right off the plane or train or whatever. And he had his bag and we met. He's wonderful. Loved working with him. And so, yeah, he basically helped get the sound effects for, and he edited and produced this latest version of the personalized stories. So basically, thank you. Right. Basically, the paid portion of what Lovely Street produces is personalized audio stories for kids. So if you're a parent, you can send me your child's name, and I will then record their name with all the different intonation, how it fits into the story, and I will place it into the story and give it back to you as an MP3 file so that it sounds like it was created just for your child. The YouTube channel that I've created is totally free. It's for families everywhere. It's educational. It's entertaining. It's got science and nature and nutrition and all kinds of different stuff. They're about, I would say, anywhere between like 5 to 9+ minutes. And there's no personalization, obviously, because I can't name every child in the world as much as I wish I could. But yeah, those are free. And so my goal with that is that it will become monetized and I will be able to do this full time and reach out to families all over the place and honestly get it into different sectors. Audio therapy has come up as like an option that I'm hoping to pursue, maybe with some hospitals, children's hospitals, education, things like that. So lots of dreams.
Excellent. So, so if you're listening, whether you're live or whether you are catching the replay of this, you need to check out Lovely Street on YouTube. Okay, so you check her out. You can see it's almost like a sleep podcast for kids, sort of a deal. And then if you like what you hear, which you will if you're not an uncultured swine, you'll be like, oh, this is amazing. So then one, just keep listening to it. That's great. But also you can reach out to her specifically and, with your child, your nephew, niece, grandchild, and she can actually put their name, specifically personalize it for your child or your loved one. And so reach out to her for that. But at a minimum, check out the link in the bio, the description, and check it out. Follow the channel. If you have kids in your life, you need to be doing this kind of thing. I love what you're doing, Jamie.
Thank you.
It's really good. So that's really cool. Now, that's also not, you're not at all a one-trick pony. I heard you on 7 different sketches doing 7 different characters, which were just amazing back at Sonicon. So yeah, anyway, so we'll get around to that in a second, but yeah, good. That's I love what you're doing. And is the best way to get I'll actually put it up here if someone wants to reach out to you directly and say, hey, I want to get my kid a personalized thing for their birthday or whatever. Mm-hmm. What would be, how could they do that?
Yes. So you should have the link to my website, lovelystreetpro.com. Mm-hmm. Street is ST. And so basically on there, you can go through, there's one base story right now that's a little bit longer than the YouTube stories. And that's the one that I am able to license for sale. The YouTube ones, I just have a license for YouTube. So this one is the one base story and it already has the spaces. So that's actually ST, not STRE.
Oh,
no, you're totally fine.
So it's not the whole street. I'm sorry.
Correct. Yeah, I didn't get the whole street. They wouldn't give it to me. I tried.
Okay. So let's redo this. Bam, 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 bam. How's about? Wait for it, people. Dang it. LovelySTPro.com.
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Dang it. Come on, you goober. Oh, wait.
There it is.
Okay. All
right.
So that's thing.
If you go to that, basically, you can see, it shows you like, hey, we have a YouTube channel and the story is called Perspective. So it's basically, it takes you on a journey of imagining you're very small or very tall. So if you're very small, like everything is huge, ants, and, your leaf is a boat, and then you make it a coat, and then, all kinds of stuff. And then when you're super tall, you're up in the clouds and everything on the ground looks tiny. And so it takes you on a journey of perspective. So this is the longer story. It has the, music that I now can license. Okay. So yeah, you can go and order it. So there's a little button that says, take me to the story. And it'll currently take you to Etsy because oddly enough, Etsy is the only site I can find right now that lets you deliver a digital product after the fact. So I obviously have to edit in the child's voice and then get it back to them, which is not something other sites tend to do. If you have a digital product, it has to be immediate. So right now we're on Etsy. And if there's any web developers out there that want to help solve this issue, it would be great to have just, a sales website for that. But that's the way. And that's the story we have so far. You can also ask for a personalized story, it'll be a little bit more expensive, but I can write a story particular to your child, and we can have a conversation about favorite toys and colors and journeys and the theme and things like that. So I'm open to whatever.
Awesome. So you could send like a thing like, what's the child's favorite color, that kind of thing, and you sort of fill that out, send it back into you, and you make it's not just a swap out the name, but it's like the whole thing is geared toward the kid.
Yeah, I could do it like I did for my nephew, correct? Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, what I'm expanding, I'm on the journey, but the main story is the perspective story, and it's not a robotic voice. It's not, I'm an actress, and every part of the story, I've heard it for years now because I wrote it and I recorded it and everything, and so I know where the intonation needs to be, and how to speak to the child, change it if it's exciting, if it's calming, if it's so it will be just for them.
Good deal. So whether to the listeners, even if you don't place an order, go to her YouTube, go to Jamie's YouTube, and just, like, if you can, subscribe and listen, show it to your kids, show it to your grandkids, nieces, nephews, because when she gets to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, you'll be able to make money off of the ads that YouTube is already running on her stuff. So now they've been running the commercials. Now she can get a little cut of that financial pie, so to speak.
And we can produce more. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's about every week that we drop a new story. Just about. So yeah, a new one will be coming called Wonderful Words. That's the next one that I will be recording. It's already written, so that's next up. Yeah.
So here is, let's see if we can pull it up here. Well, add to stage. Okay, so here's a sample of what we're talking about. So this is Jamie's work, A to Z. This is her work.
To your left, you see a group. Tall and gray, a massive troop. With trunks so long and ears so large, they look like they must be in charge. The elephants are splashing round the mud and making trumpet sound. With trunks, they speak and grab and eat and cool off in the blazing heat.
Oh, that's great.
The zoo. Who doesn't love the zoo?
Exactly. That's fantastic. Definitely go check out Lovely Street. Oh, look at this. Mariah.
Thanks, Mariah.
There we go. That's what we're looking for.
This is the first thing I've ever been live on, so it's wild to see people responding.
Right, exactly. So if Mariah, if you are the only one,
it's worth it.
Thank you,
Mariah.
Thank you. That's great. But Jamie, you're multi-talented. So we've talked about your theater background. We've talked about your business. So now I was thinking we could do a duet, right?
Yes.
Have you ever seen the film or read the book of Pride and Prejudice?
I have seen the film.
Okay. Which one
James
did you
say I haven't read the book.
did you see Keira
Knightley? Yes.
Okay. 2005. It's great. It really is. And it's different than, let's say, the 1995 version with Colin Firth, Jennifer L. Because that's a miniseries. It's like hours and hours long. So you get the whole story in 2 hours. It's beautifully shot. The soundtrack.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, so this is obviously it's not from the book or the miniseries or the movie. It's from the actual book. But we'll do a little duet here from the book. So this is when they're in the drawing room. It's Caroline Bingley who likes Darcy, and Darcy, who he doesn't particularly care for Caroline or any woman for that matter. But Elizabeth is kind of like, I don't know. I kind of am interested in her now. But I think the fun part about this is that you're from Massachusetts, and I've heard your Southern accent, and it's fantastic.
I'm so glad. It's better than my Boston accent, honestly.
So, I think this is true voice act. On my part, it's not voice acting. This is where I'm from.
You are Southern, yeah.
You're from Massachusetts,
It's true.
so this is a true voice acting thing from you as Caroline Bingley. Okay, and let me see. Let me. Oh gosh. Let me pull it up here. I'm so disorganized. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. It's the live aspect,
It's live, and we're artists, right?
It's true.
Okay, so if you are completely unaware of Pride and Prejudice, Caroline Bingley, rich, haughty, condescending, talking to Darcy, rich, mistaken for condescending, but he's really a good dude, and he kind of likes this other country girl who's not Caroline Bingley. So anyway, shall we have at this? So I'll be Darcy, you be Caroline Bingley.
What a swap. Okay.
Okay. And again, remember, Jamie is from Massachusetts, but she's going to be, this is Southern Pride and Prejudice. Okay.
Southern. Okay. How delighted Miss Darcy will be to receive such a letter.
He made no answer.
You write uncommonly fast.
You're mistaken. I write rather slowly.
How many letters you must have occasion to write in the course of a year. Letters of business, too. How odious I should think them.
It's fortunate, then, that they fall to my lot instead of yours.
Pray tell your sister that I long to see her.
I've already told her so once by your desire.
I'm afraid you do not like your pen. Let me mend it for you. I mend pens remarkably well.
Thank you, but I always mend my own.
How can you contrive to write so even?
He was silent.
Tell your sister I am delighted to hear of her improvement on the harp. And pray let her know that I am quite in raptures with her beautiful little design for a table, and I think it infinitely superior to Miss Grantley's.
Will you give me leave to defer your raptures till I write again? At present, I have not room to do them justice.
Oh, it is of no consequence. I shall see her in January. But do you always write such charming long letters to her, Mr. Darcy?
They're generally long, but whether always charming, it's not for me to determine.
It is a rule with me that a person who can write a long letter with ease cannot write ill.
Good job. I love that. That's great. I wouldn't have known that you were from.
You know what?
You're a Yankee. Yeah. That's great. That's so good. And another, Mariah, yes, the ladybug is back. I have an infestation.
Oh, yes. I have seen him flying about.
Yeah. Have you seen? Okay.
On your end, yeah.
They're all over. They're all over. They're all over.
Is it the new Asian ladybugs, or is it the regular normal?
Well, they're pale orange. So they're not bright red, but they're not.
Do they have the little M, the like white M on their forehead? Because that might be trouble.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, yeah, I guess so. We'll just say they're normal.
I think they're normal. They're not the brilliant ladybug that's usually by itself in small numbers, which no one minds and actually loves. This is in the pale orange and in hordes like plagues of Egypt.
Yep.
So, anywho.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for noticing, Mariah.
Yeah, I think that might be the Asian lady beetle.
It might be. It might be. I usually just have to, wait them out and When they
Yeah.
die out, I vacuum them up out of the windowsills and
There you go. I just
back
have the
to-
stink bugs, but I leave them be. They kind of just like sit on my curtain like a little pet, and I just leave them be because
That's great. So, yeah. Oh, also, you are on Instagram, aren't you?
yes, I am.
And that is, can you tell me that? And I will paste it up.
You know, I could. Let me look. Oh, yes. So it's Lovely Street Pro. So each of the words has the underscore. So lovely underscore street full street underscore pro.
Lovely underscore straight pro. Let's see if I can do.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're on Instagram live or catching the replay, lovely underscore street underscore pro. That's on Instagram. And that'll give you some little nuggets, some little bites that will lead you back onto YouTube, which that's where we want to end up, because that's where you're going to have the good stuff. That's where the good stuff is. And then obviously that'll enable you to reach out to Jamie personally and have your own sort of personalized thing if you so desire. But even if you don't, I mean, this is a great place.
Free on YouTube.
Great place for sleep podcast for kids.
Or just downtime. Honestly, quiet time is such a big deal now for kids when they have alone time.
Right.
Yeah. Which is why my brother was smart and he was, kind of helping with marketing on this. And he was like, you might just want to call it quiet time instead of bedtime stories for kids because it's a lot broader and it's not just bedtime. And I thought, you're
That's
so
true.
right, sir.
Right. Yeah. Just kind of like, let's power down.
Downtime. Yeah.
Yeah. Quit acting crazy and just sort of, even if you're not sleeping.
Yeah.
So I have 4 little ones and I'm always looking for ways to like, how do I get them from a 9 to a 4?
Yeah.
So this is great.
Yeah. And they all rhyme, which I feel helps with the lulling,
And you write them all?
I do write them all. Yes. I write them all. All the YouTube ones I have written and I edit them all and I record them. I do everything from A to Z on the YouTube ones. On the paid one, I did have Oscar do the combo. He did the sound effects and he input the music, did all my levels and edited and everything like that.
Right.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
But the YouTube license wise, I'm able with Epidemic Sound to have like a pro license that I can do on monetized channels. So yeah, I love to edit. So
okay. Well, that's great.
yeah.
That's great. Yeah, fantastic. Going back to your theater, what plays have you been in? What sort of productions have you been in? And you as a voice actor, what could you do? What do you do as a voice actor? Or what could you do?
So mainly with the voice acting, I have done the Main Street Music Show, which is the family-friendly comedy podcast. So definitely check that out if you're looking for family-friendly. And the Encounter series, we have finally wrapped doing voices for. I've done some like commercial work, but with stage, I mean, it's been a while since I've done a non-musical. The last musical I was in was actually during COVID. Illuvian Stage Company did Christmas Carol. So I was in that.
Okay.
But yeah, as far as non-musicals where you're just using the voice, professionally, Kinder Transport, if you've ever heard of that one, it's in the World War II era. It kind of takes the children's story of the rat catcher and combines it with a child who came over from Germany during that time. Like I said, Crucible was one of my favorites. I have aspirations to be in something like The Mousetrap, like an Agatha Christie or a zany mystery or like The Show That Goes Wrong or something like that.
Okay.
Where I can use my comedy skills in a very like serious mystery dramatic way. I feel like sitcom-y is very much in my blood to do for some reason.
Okay.
But I also love just straight dramatic. I feel like acting, if you have to come up with the tier of like acting, singing, dancing, acting is definitely my top one. But
okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now, do you do any voice acting? Do you do any commercials or e-learning modules or documentary narrations, anything like that?
You know, I honestly haven't gotten much into the pro world of it, other than the audio dramas that I've been doing. I was able to connect with some people at this Sonicon this time around. So hopefully in the future, maybe I'll be doing some more of that. But yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Well, yeah, that's fantastic. Is there okay, so we've mentioned your YouTube, your Instagram.
Yes.
And do you know right off the top of your head what the variety show,
The Main
show,
Street Music Show
Main Street? Yeah, do you know what that is right off the top of your head?
on Instagram?
Well, I was thinking on YouTube, but either way, really.
Yes.
Main Street.
They actually have a website. So they are on like Dramify, Spotify. So it's mainly a podcast, Main Street Music Show, but they do also have it's at Main Street Music Show, and again, the street is just ST.
Okay. Let's see. Main. It sure is. Okay, here we go.
And they have a website as well.
Okay, so yeah, check out. There we go. Nope. There we go. So check out this one right here. Main Street Music Show. And you'll see a lot of stuff with Jamie in it, and she is not talking like she is right now. This is her walking around voice on the Main Street Music Show. I mean, truly, there's you're really good.
Thank
you're really
you.
Good. You're fun to watch. The characters you bring to life are a delight.
Thank you.
And, yeah.
Did you have a favorite? My favorite are the elves, but I feel like everyone has a different favorite.
That was one of my favorites, but like I don't know. I guess I have a lot of favorites. Like the elves were a favorite, but then also the when you and Sam and Daniel were the like riding home from war and you're all Southern.
Oh yes.
That was wonderful. And part of it I think is because it's so far from let's say a northern, a Boston, New England accent.
Mm-hmm.
It's so far, and yet you're doing it so well. To me,
it's probably because I've been in not the deep South, but the South compared to Massachusetts.
Yeah. I mean, that's Southern, and from however that works, it's fun to listen to. That was a great.
It's fun to do. I tell you what, there's no greater job than just getting to do crazy voices.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, and then I know I mentioned the Encounter series. I just saw season 5 is coming out this spring 2024. So they've already been out. The Encounter series has 4 seasons up already, and that's the one that was created by Chris Nelson and crew at Liberty. And we recorded the seasons of that for years and years, and so it's been going. And I've been waiting for season 5 to drop for years now. So it's finally coming, and you can check out the preview to that. So they basically go through different time periods of this storyline, and seasons 5 through 7 kind of culminate in everything, and that's where my character comes in.
Okay.
Kyla. EncounterSeries.com. And that one is amazing to listen to. It's on Dramify. It's award-winning.
EncounterSeries.com.
Yes.
I'm gonna go check that out.
Yeah, I think you would love it.
Because I know I would love it.
And the artwork is amazing. Ryan Brothers, I think, does the art. It's so good.
Not I think, it is I know.
And yeah, so Chris Nelson also voices characters in this one too. So
okay. Very exciting.
Nice. And other people you may know. Sam, obviously, Sam is a big character in the
Okay.
And if you hear Sam on stage and then you hear Sam in this, you won't know it's him. He plays Sirig. But his voice is the epitome of different. It's a different human. So shout out to Sam Van Fossen.
Yeah, because Sam is big on TikTok. If you don't know Sam, He's got a lot of, and he's very, I don't know, juvenile on TikTok.
The Death Files, like
very
yeah.
goofy.
So this is like, if you can picture like a deep demon voice almost. Yeah. So very different. And it's amazing. Yeah.
Very
so
cool.
Lots of diverse cast in this one, which is really cool.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going there right after.
Check it out.
Good deal.
I'm trying to think of anyone else in my life I haven't given a shout out to. Mom, we love you. No, no, honestly though, my parents, we grew up in a very creative household, and that's the reason I am the way I am today. Like they are the ones who encouraged me to be a theater major. Oddly enough, I was like, I should probably do business, and they're like, no, you won't last without doing theater. You should probably major in theater.
Good for them.
So yeah, they have pushed us creatively all the time. They nonstop, and they are very creative themselves and funny. I get all my humor from my dad, quite honestly.
Interesting.
He's the funniest CLoutier out there. So, John CLoutier.
Does he have a YouTube channel?
No, he doesn't, but he should.
He should start a podcast or
he
something.
Absolutely should.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, he's big into is it you that's big into the like World War II history?
I mean, I yeah.
Okay, yes, he's
not on my channels, but like
no, but
interested. Yes.
Yeah. I feel like we talked about that. Yeah, he's big into that too. So I told him about what is the World War II podcast that they were talking about at SonicCon with the story retold. Yeah, so I'll get him into that. But
okay, yeah. And yeah, this has been great.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. This has been wonderful. Please check out well, now I'm
at Lovely Street.
Okay, there we go. Lovely Street at YouTube. I mean, check out Main Street as well. It's
check
great.
it all out. Yeah.
But check out Lovely Street on YouTube. And yeah, subscribe, get your kid listening to it, power him down doing those exciting parts of the day. So
yep, for sure.
Well, thank you so much. Yes. And Mariah had a great time. So
Mariah, thank you for being here.
Yeah. Thank you, Mariah.
So fun to have live feedback.
So, thank you so much, Jamie, for coming on. And
absolutely, thank you.
We will be in touch about the audio Bible.
Yes, absolutely.
Good deal.
Can't wait.
When I get off, we'll be off streaming, but we'll talk for a second. Okay.
Amazing.
All right. Good deal. Well, thank you very much for listening.